Hello, guys. Thank you for watching me. You don't understand how your viewership is the reason why this channel is moving. Without you, there is no me. So, thank you. This is for those who want and who can do more. You have options in the description below. May I just suggest that you join a membership program? The only reason why is because it's the easiest and the most affordable way to support the channel without thinking so hard, right? But if that doesn't interest you, you can simply donate to the channel's Buy Me a Coffee page. But regardless, and this is important, that by you watching from start to finish, liking the video, push the algorithm further. So do not minimize that significance. So thanks. Thank you. And of course, an additional thanks to not only the old members, but the new members who signed on to the membership program. Thank you a ton. I see you all. Okay. The teacher is speaking out. She is speaking out, and she is speaking with controlled fire out of her mouth. Listen to me, she's even nicer than me, but listen, she's next to her lawyer to wrangle her in and to make sure she doesn't say anything out of order. Hi, Daryl. Anyway, listen, what's important here is what she has to say. And the second most important thing is what she doesn't say. And of course, the third thing is her facial expression when certain questions are asked. We dive into that together. But I'm sure you've heard this, or maybe you haven't. You probably haven't. But the boy is not being charged. Now, before I tell you some more, for those who are new here, I'm Alistair Nzekio, and this is just my point of view. Let's dive into this discussion because I think there's a lot we can learn from this, not only as a community, but as humans, as Homo sapiens.
We have some significant breaking news to get to you right now that is just coming into us exclusively here at NBC News. You remember that Virginia 6-year-old who shot his elementary school teacher? We are just now learning that he will not face charges. Again, this is from an interview that you will only see here on NBC News that our team is getting with the city's prosecutor just in the last really couple of minutes or so. The Newport News Commonwealth attorney who's overseeing this case says they had some questions about whether the 6-year-old could take the stand, but that he's still looking at possible criminal charges for adults. Now, to recap this story, and remember, it was headlines for, weeks here on this outlet and others. The 6-year-old shot his first-grade teacher, Abigail Zwerner, in the hand and chest back in January at Rich Neck Elementary School. She spent 2 weeks in the hospital. A lawyer for the boy's family and the law firm representing Zwerner are declining comment as we speak.
Maybe I'm not, maybe I'm just not designed to function properly in this society. Maybe I'm just too nice, too emotional, I'm too considerate. Maybe I am. Maybe I need to be a jerk to be able to process this correctly. But when I hear stuff like that, I hear it, but it gets filtered in my little weird filter system, but something just doesn't click in my head because to me, it's common sense. Okay, you're not charging him, but what are you doing with him? Say it. Yes, the boy is not being charged, but he needs something. Child, you need endless amount of therapy. We can't throw him away. We can't throw him away. We cannot throw him away. Hi. Coffee's great. How's your day? Having a good day? I'm having a great day. Look, enough about this. He's not being charged. Let's listen to what the teacher says, because that's, for me, that's the news. Okay, next segment before I get lost. It's just the beginning, at least. Calm down. Next segment. Okay, so this is the real news. That's the real news. The teacher's talking, and let's dissect what she says, okay? So, I'm gonna take notes. Let's start.
How are you doing? How is your recovery going?
I've been doing okay. I've gone through a lot of obstacles and challenges. Some days are not so good days where I can't get up out of bed. Some days are better than others where I'm able to get out of bed and make it to my appointments. But, you know, for going through what I've gone through, I try to stay positive, try to have a positive outlook on what's happened and where my future's heading.
You just had a surgery on your hand. What are the physical injuries?
The initial gunshot went through my left hand and ruptured the middle bone as well as the index finger and the thumb. The gunshot then went into my chest up here where it actually still remains. So I have a scar up here and I still have some bullet fragments up here.
So part of that bullet is still there?
Yes.
Do you think it will always be there, or do they think they'll remove it someday?
I think it'll always be there.
All right. Listen to that injury, because this is just a physical injury. Her hand completely torn apart. Now, what you don't know, or what you may not know, is that when you shoot a bullet, the bullet rotates as it goes very fast. We're literally sack of water, and it's easy. Like, you could take a look. You prick this pen, you press it hard enough, it will go through. Your body stand no chance against a bullet. I want you to process how her hand must have looked. Not only does it pierces you at high velocity, but it rotates. It's like mumbo jumbo your hand. And the bullet continuing to her chest, still spinning. And that impact, fragments are scattered everywhere in her body. Everywhere. That's for one bullet. Okay? It's she is lucky she's alive. And with the level of what she just described, the pain doesn't even cut it. And this is another thing, which is why, as a science person, as a scientist, I am amazed at the human body. Do you understand? Our bodies are perfectionly designed to do whatever we do, because she did not feel an ounce of pain at that moment. Her brain was in high gear, working overtime to protect the specimen of herself. Incredible.
A lot about the wounds that we can see, but there are wounds that we can't see.
Yes.
How are you doing?
At first it really shook me up. They were open wounds that I could see, and seeing an open wound on your body and remembering how you got it is pretty traumatizing in itself. I think it's been helpful now that they've scarred over, but it's still a reminder that, hey, this happened to you. This is what your body's been through.
And then the mental, listen, the brain is doing its job. She will always remember those moments.
What do you remember about that day?
I remember a lot. The morning, it felt like just a regular school day, but I started hearing things and things started happening that made my fear grow. As the day went on, it grew more. My fear grew more. I remember him pointing the gun at me. I remember the look on his face. I remember the gun going off. I remember feeling something. It was a pretty scary day.
In that moment, what's going through your mind?
I was terrified. In that moment, my initial reaction was, your kids need to get out of here. This is not a safe classroom anymore, and then you need to go find help for yourself. It was pretty shocking. Once the firearm went off, and then I felt something, that shock itself that I had been shot.
You knew you had been shot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was pretty shocking itself. But I just wanted to get my babies out of there.
What did the kids do, say?
They were screaming. I think they knew as well that they had to get out of there, but they were extremely frightened and screaming.
The police chief said after that you had ensured that the kids got to a safe place. He said your actions were heroic.
She experienced a fight and flight response, and her natural instinct is to fight. Because, to be very clear, some people freeze. When my father tried to kill my mom, I froze over the phone. I don't know how I would have reacted if I was there in person, but I froze. And you don't decide how you react. It's not for you to decide. But her personality or whatever decision is to take action and protect her children. That response is what prevented her from realizing the extent of her damage, which probably helped her stay alive a little longer. Now, the adrenaline pumping and all the involuntary processes, like tightening of the blood vessels, your body your body does try to stay alive as best it can, right? And what's shocking to me here is that as this moment happened, and what she doesn't tell you in the interview, the mayhem of the room. Think about that. Po! Ah! Kids scattering around. The mayhem of the room. And where was the 6-year-old when that happened? You know she remembers. Please, she remembers. And I'll tell you why. Because if she chose to take action, that means she is remembering. Because she needs to be aware to take action. Listen, I get into that a little bit. The panic of the room, the mayhem of the room. Even through all that, she still took action to protect her kids.
Do you remember what were the next things that you did?
That's still kind of a blur. Got them out and I went to get help for myself. I didn't know at the time that my lung had collapsed, but I started not being able to breathe, very raspy breaths, and my vision started going out. I remember I went to the office and I just passed out. I thought I had died.
The ambulance came, you were rushed to the hospital. What did doctors say about the condition you were in and your injuries?
It could have been fatal. We believe with my hands being up, with it going through my hand first, we believe that by the bullet going through the hand first, that it most likely saved my life.
A collapsed lung. And when she got there, she started getting blurry vision and she passed out. That's from the loss of blood, probably from her hand. Think about it. Her hand entered here, the bullet entered here and shattered. Look, shattered. This right here would have been gone. You shattered. She's probably shattered. It's a bullet. It's the hand. Shattered. Even if you see, you're lucky to see she even had a thumb left. Shattered. Shattered. The amount of blood loss she probably sustained from the hand alone must have been significant. That's probably why she had blurry vision. At some point, the adrenaline takes you going. But at some point, Mother Nature wins. Yeah, she always wins, the bitch. But she always wins. She always wins. A collapsed lung. Yeah, it entered her chest. And remember, it's a rotating bullet. Things are flinging all over the place at high velocity. Your own bone can fragment into your skull. Maybe not that, but you understand what I'm saying? She is lucky to be alive. And even through that, she lost so much blood and not enough oxygen. At some point, the adrenaline, all these hormones can only do so much. And then she collapsed. And the crazy thing, because she did mention she was very well aware, because, collapsing and having blurry vision means she still had consciousness, which is a telltale sign that happened due to too much loss of blood, right? So she was able to keep going, but there was no more fuel blood. There was no more resources to allow her mechanism, her machinery, which is her human body, to function properly. Therefore, there's just not enough resources to function, so she collapsed. But her mind was still conscious. That's so significant. Guys, if this does not paint the horror in this classroom, if this does not give you a horrendous picture of what that day was. Now listen to this.
I wonder what you think or how you feel about this student.
Do you see how she paused? Please, that teacher has disdain for that student. He might be 6-year-old. He might be disdained. Disdain. And you know what? As she should. She's human. What do you mean you almost tried to kill me? I don't care if you're 2 years old. I don't like you. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're even lucky I don't punt you in the moment. What? Yeah. Yes. selfless and kumbaya-ness and all that niceness goes up to a certain point. The moment my life is in danger, honey, may the best man win. That pause and that stare. She paused and she stared. She was not having, that question was, it rang something in her head. She was like, please don't ask me that question. That boy is dead to me. Of course.
You know, there's some things that I'll never forget, and I just will never forget the look on his face that he gave me while he pointed the gun directly at me. That's something that I will never forget. It's changed me. It's changed my life.
How do you even make sense of something like this?
You can't. You can't. I'm not sure when the shock will ever go away because of just how surreal it was. And, the vivid memories that I have of that day. I think about it daily. Sometimes I have nightmares.
Because she never really answered the question. Please, she's a teacher. She's a well-educated woman. She understood exactly what she heard. She didn't answer it because she is controlling how she feels inside. Of course. Of course.
Zwerner's attorney, Diane Toscano, filed a notice of intent to sue school administrators, arguing that the Richneck administration failed to take action after it was warned 3 separate times that the boy had a gun with him the day that Zwerner was shot. Toscano says she plans to file a lawsuit in 2 weeks.
There have been many failures, and there are multiple people responsible for those failures.
Do you feel like you could have been better protected by the school?
Yes.
You feel like they should have done more?
Yes.
The prosecutor announced there would not be criminal charges against the 6-year-old boy. Do you have an opinion about that decision?
I'm not going to weigh into the prosecutor's decision, but I am following very closely the Newport News prosecutor to see what they do in this case and who they do charge, ultimately, if they do charge anybody.
When you think about everything that's happened and what happened to you, what does justice mean to you in this case?
That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah. Diane, for you?
As Abby said, that is very tough to answer. My job is to hold those accountable that I can hold accountable, and I'm going to do that. Abby's going to have to deal with this her entire life, both physically, emotionally.
NBC News has reached out to the school district for comment and has not heard back. In the moments after the shooting, Zwerner's mother and sister rushed to be by her side.
What did you think when they said she was shot by a student?
I probably had some expletives running in my head. I might have even said them out loud, like, what? Are you kidding me?
When I saw her family supporting her, like, it almost brought tears to my... By the way, I'm heavy in the chest. My emotions are right here, and I want to scream and I want to cry. I want to do everything at once, but I'm also bottling and controlling myself over here. But I'm breathing heavy without you. Just letting you know, like inside, I'm like a geyser. I'm bottled up. Her family being here for the support. This is what I say. This is what I say. This is how I mean when I like the ripple effect. You have no idea when you're mean to someone. You don't know what that does when they go home with those words. You don't know what could happen at home when you don't see. And that family support, I'm heavy because I tell you why. My mother is going through some serious legal situation with my dad, and I am her support system. It's really hard. I know my mom tries to act like I got this, kids. No, because I can see a lot of her joy had been sapped away because she's dealing with this madman called my father, and so therefore sometimes she doesn't even ask for it. If my mom would, but I have to be there. I have to be there. And so that's why I relate to this very, very, very well. The mother got a phone call that her daughter got shot by a 6-year-old student. Are you out of your mind? Are you insane? Do you know what kind of cartwheels I'll be doing in the kitchen? Let's continue.
And I know I lost it at that point. It just, you can't wrap your head around that. All of us being teachers in classrooms at rough schools, rough kids. That's not, you're never afraid like that. I never would have thought.
And when you saw Abby?
Oh my gosh, she called me mommy.
You don't call her mommy anymore.
No, she called me mommy, and I knew, like, oh my gosh, this is real. I haven't heard mommy in a long time, and it kind of broke my heart.
Yeah. Hannah, you've been helping to take care of your twin sister. What has this time been like?
I'm just so grateful that I was able to be there for her. We already lived together, which was nice, but we spend every waking moment together. And just being able to take care of her, and it's taking her to appointments, it's making her food, it's cleaning up, opening toothpaste, things like that. I'm really, really grateful that I'm able to help her with that and be there for moral support too.
But the support she's received has extended far beyond her family.
It's hard to comprehend sometimes how many people out there really are just supportive and caring. That in itself has been hard to comprehend. There have been so many strangers reaching out. We have tons of handmade cards, handwritten cards with people's stories.
And what does it mean to you? Because you've seen a very dark side of humanity.
Dark side of humanity. When it's one thing, look, I think a lot of you may know that this channel was born out of necessity for my mental health, okay? And I'm not ready to tell you the full story yet. Maybe one day I will. But as I've gotten to get to know you guys, as I've gotten to, look, I'm totally in love. I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. But listen, what I've had to learn is disassociate, separate PACT Nation as a whole, disassociate that with the PACT Nation as the individual. Does that make any sense? Because at the beginning, of course it's naivete. Of course, it's like, oh my God, they're all friends. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then my therapist was like, okay, it's great, you're having a good time, but pay attention. Pay attention, because not everybody in the PACT Nation situation might like you. Case in point, some subscribers are my father's agent. By the way, I'll tell you. Oh, wait. Maybe the Let's Talk story, if I remember. I'm writing it down so I don't forget.
What does this mean to you, to see another side?
It helps me remember to take each day as they come, that each day is special.
What would you want people to know about you now? You have people who have prayed for you and sent you cards, people who are admiring you and loving you. What would you want them to know about Abby?
That I'm just so thankful. Their messages, their cards, their support has not gone unnoticed, and it's been truly inspiring to keep pushing me to move forward in a positive way.
What do you tell yourself to get through? What gives you hope?
I'm still here. I believe I made it here for a reason.
If you could talk to your students, what would you want to say to them?
I would first tell them that I love each and every one of them. I'm very grateful that they're all alive and they're safe and they're healthy, and I just miss them dearly.
Abby wasn't able to get into details of what led up to the shooting that day or talk too much about the boy and his family because there is pending litigation. An attorney for the boy's family tells NBC News, "We welcome the prosecutor's decision not to charge the boy and continue to pray for Ms. Zwerner's complete recovery." They've previously said that the 6-year-old has what they call an acute disability and was receiving the treatment he needs now under court-ordered temporary detention at a medical facility. But it's a long road for Abby that she's still on. I mean, she just had another hand surgery last week. And then, of course, there are the wounds that she carries in her heart from such a traumatic incident.
Considering all that she has been through, her outlook is nothing short of remarkable.
No, it truly is, and she's got a great support system. Her brother is in the military and asked to be reassigned to move back and be closer to home. Her mom, her sister, they're all teachers. So she has that support, but this is a process that she's clearly still going through.
Does she question why? I mean, do people want to know why? Have they been able to, I mean, he's 6-year-old.
I think that is the question. I don't know. I think, it's hard to make any sense of something like this.
And he didn't go after any classmates or anything like that. It was just her.
As far as we know. But again, that this is a case that's still about to be litigated. Her lawyer is going to file a civil suit. There's still the potential of criminal charges. The local prosecutor said he would not be charging the boy, but there is potential charges against others involved with the case, and that might reveal more of it. But frankly, it's unfathomable. There's no explaining what happened to a young teacher at the hands of a 6-year-old boy.
When she talked about the look on his face, if this story was isolated and you didn't know the circumstance, you would never imagine that she's talking about a child.
A child.
This interview was kicker. Absolutely kicker. And I think the whole acute situation that the family of the 6-year-old boy is throwing, acute, court-ordered, it's just legalese to tell you, the public, that they are doing everything they can to minimize the consequences in the eyes of the court. Please, they do it all the time. They do it all the time. It's pointless to them. It's pointless to them. Let me tell you why it's pointless to them. Because the day of the shooting is the day where no parents were there around to even do anything. Really? If it was that serious of an issue, what are you doing not having a protocol in place for when the parents are not able to attend? Really? It's just legalese. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. There's a rotting somewhere where I'm not quite sure, which is why that the teacher speaking about the administration and all that stuff, you see her face change, right? She was like, oh no, I'm in business. I'm alive, MF. I'm alive and you're going to pay for it. 100%. 100%. And the thing that infuriates me a lot about this story, especially now, well, two things. One of them is maybe I'm not in a perfect state to contain all my demons. No, I'm too tired right now to contain anything. Should I be on the camera talking? Maybe not. But the second reason is because the consequences are so humongous. I don't understand people who walk around, who just live and walk around without thinking of the consequences. I was saving the stories for my Let's Talk. Let me write this one down so I don't forget. Anyway. No, I'm following this story. And this story, let me tell you something. This story, like the Murdoch situation, is going to move the needle a little bit. It really is, because it's so significant. And it's at a crossing point where someone is not being quiet about it. The teacher is making noise. And I can guarantee you, they've tried to settle, and she said no. It's a school district, please. Please, it's taxpayer money. They could settle that thing in a heartbeat. She's like, nope, I'm not settling, because the teacher wants the point. 100%. It's a civil lawsuit. You could settle out of court. Put a non-disclosure everywhere. No, the teacher is like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, this is going to be a conversation which I think we need to have. I think the gun situation, and listen, the problem is not the gun. The problem is the person who has the gun. And even if you take the guns away, that's not going to stop the person from having a gun. Are you serious? No. Do you know how many illegals? When was the last time, weed was illegal at some point? Please, did that stop anybody to get high? Exactly. No. The gun is not the issue. The issue is you have to make sure you have a very good infrastructure around that weapon. Look at alcohol. Please. Alcohol is an illegal substance. Used to be illegal substance. It's still a very dangerous substance. It kills a lot more people than weed, but there's a whole infrastructure around it, right? Don't drink and drive. Don't give alcohol to minor. Absolutely. That's what I mean. I think people focusing on the gun itself, it's not, you're missing the point. The point is not the gun. The point is to focus on the person who decides to purchase the gun. Now, that is the person you have to create an infrastructure around, because if I have to drink and drive, I'm thinking 1,000 times, and the answer is always going to be no. Yeah, but let me just think a little bit. Yeah, because I know there's an infrastructure around this. I didn't mean to rant so hard. Let's go to my Let's Talk, because my life right now it's not a mess. There's a lot going on, and everything pisses me off. Okay. I'll tell you a secret. I've already recorded a Let's Talk segment, but I had to completely delete it and start over. Do you want to know why? Because I got really angry and I went on a complete rant about it's been a very difficult month for me. Absolutely difficult. It's one of those months where I quite don't understand sometimes courts. And it's been... Okay, I have to be systematic. I've done this before, right? Since I deleted it, I'm doing it again. So, all right. So the first thing I talked about was the agents of my father, right? So for those who don't know what the hell is going on, my parents are going through a bit of divorce right now, and it started in 2016. There's no child support. There's really no alimony. But my parents will have a prenup, so everything is combined together, divided by 2, etc. Go your own separate ways. This should have been like 1 year or 2 years, but it's not. And I talked about how like my father has his agents who watch this show all the way up till the end. I'm not even kidding, because sometimes I would put stuff at the end and they'll still complain about that. So I'm like, oh, you really watched this till the end. Idiots. Anyway, so who those agents are, it's the sisters of my father. And I went on a rant because it came to light in courts. It came to light. I get every time my mom gets briefed by her lawyer, I'm in the room and I get briefed on everything that goes on. And the reason why I get briefed is because if something was to happen to my mom, and my father tried 3 times. One time when I was there, one time where I helped her escape. Sorry, girls, my aunts, sorry, you failed. And the other time I'm not going to talk about. 3 times. You might ask yourself, well, why don't you like court and stuff? In Africa, there's no rule of law. Are you serious? Yes, I've said it. And if you're African, come on, bring it. You don't know half the stuff I know. No. There's no rule of law in Africa. That stuff called bribe. If you have enough money, you could bribe the Supreme Court. Let me tell you something. My father bribed the Supreme Court of Cameroon, and he brought them to Canada in the courtroom of a Canadian court. The Canadian court had to kick them out. Do you understand? Supreme Court judges, flown first class. Really? Oh, please. You didn't think that was possible? It's possible over there. There's no rule of law in Africa. Anyway, let me just calm myself because I don't want to do this again. I have a full day. So, what was I saying? Yeah, the agents. Right. And so it came to light. It came to light that they are actively trying to steal our inheritance. How? Well, my aunts, the sisters of my father, have a judgment in hand, probably bribed from the judge over there. That's all the goods. That's all the stuff we have in Africa. They have a judgment from a judge in Africa, a high-level judge, that states that my father's properties, where my mom's name is not on it, should be given to his sisters, to my aunts. And they have a judgment in hand, and he gave them the deeds. So technically, on paper, those assets are in my aunt's name. You stole from your nieces and nephews? Oh, wow, what great people. Great people. Garbage. So, my father brought that judgment over there to court in Canada, being like, look, those assets cannot be discussed because there's a judgment on them, right? And that's when we're like, wait, what? What? And that came to light with a name on it. The name on it. Let me tell you something. And this is where for a narcissist, my father is a diagnosed narcissist. Court ordered. They don't see further away from their nose. They're actually quite stupid. They're not. Oh God, I don't know how to say this. Don't do this again, Alistair. My father is smart. But most narcissists are dumb. But my dad is smart. The problem is that my mom is smarter. Okay, I've said it. Okay. I'm controlling my state. I apologize if I look like an idiot. It's that or ice cream. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Screaming or quiet? Okay. All right, listen. So, so what my aunts and my father didn't realize. You think we didn't think of that? Let me tell you something. Here is the problem with you, narcissist, and you, dad, is that you think you know everything. They think they are God's gift. And because they think that, that is why they will always be mediocre. My aunts are following my dad like two idiots, two nincompoops. Let me tell you something. My mom got a lawyer over there in Cameroon. We have meetings. Mom, lawyer, me, we have meetings. It's not just one brain working on you guys. It's at least 6, okay? 6. And you know who came up with the idea? I'm not going to tell you what it is because they're listening, but it's too late anyway because you have a judgment, which is criminal, by the way. But please, I'll get there in a bit. You're going to go to jail. If you can pick yourself out of that, you think my father's going to help you out? You're out of your mind. And if you don't think my mom's going to come in for you, you're out of your mind because that's already in order. We're coming, and we are coming hard. Do you understand? Listen. We knew something like that was capable of happening. And we made provisions in place. I am just surprised that you didn't check it. You think you could just give a deed to someone? I'm surprised you didn't do your due diligence and looked a little harder on those tax records. But that's the thing. When you say yes to someone all the time, you don't stop and think for yourself. That's the thing when you're a narcissist and you think your idea is the best ever, that you don't need to double check. The problem for you is that there's a judgment. You can't go back. Well, how can I give you a hint without telling you so much? Let's just say that, you know, when you sell a property, you look at the tax records to look up for any potential debt, right? Well, I guess they didn't look. They didn't look. Because if you looked, you would have seen someone's name in there. And you wouldn't have gone through with your plan. And if you think you're going to get, if you think they're going to get like our inheritance, you're in for a big surprise. I didn't think of that. I'm not that smart to think like that. No. You know who thought of it? It wasn't even my mom who thought of it. We have a team. We have a team. You only have my father, and that's the problem. Anyway. At least I said that without screaming. I don't mean to talk in riddles because they watched till the end, and you know what? The court situation is almost over. It's almost over. It's almost over, and then I will spill the beans. I even told the lawyer, I said, "Get away from me." I'm telling the story because I think part, you know, narcissists, they love to do stuff in secret. You bring that flashlight you bring the light, and they fizzle away like they melt away. My allergies are completely out of control. My father is being a complete nincompoop. Olympia won't let me sleep. I have work. I have work. Work is still raging. By the way, speaking of raging, I'm in the fitness industry, and right now there is a alarm. People are not slowing down, which creates a big problem. So, you know, in the fitness industry, when they build a facility, they build it for, you know, 20 people. They don't build it for the whole capacity of the roster. Please, that's not possible. But the problem is that the roster is showing up every rostering day, Monday through Sunday. It's a problem because that becomes a hazard. It becomes a fire hazard. It becomes I don't have the machine hazard. It becomes too crowded. It becomes a health hazard. And people don't like to work out when it's all cram and stuff. And that's what's happening right now. So consequently, people are dropping off the membership to go into less crowded areas. And it creates a loop effect where, you know, they have a sales force. The sales force needs to go and get new members. And the new members show up. Nobody not show up. And then it's like too crowded. It's a weird interloop. And they are stuck because when you build a facility, you build the capacity. You can't just build some more. You can't just extend and expand. You can't just do that unless you open a whole new facility. It's a problem that's creeping across the entire industry. And it's a problem. It's a real problem. It's a real problem. Like, it's great that people are skipping up to their health, but the problem is the business model are not designed. The business model is designed for you to stay home and not care about your health, so somebody else can come in and take your space. Yeah, there's a crisis happening behind the scenes, and you have no idea. That's why I'm being called all the time. Oh, right. And then the thing that I did address is this thing right here. This one. Come on, Alice, there. Alice, really? What's going on? What's happening? There you go. Come on, brain. Wake up. What is that? Okay, so that's a credit card. What kind of credit card? Can you read the numbers? You can't read the numbers. Perfect. No, I'm not showing you the credit card, please. You can't use it even if you get the numbers. This is a milestone. This is my office where I do my administrative work for my real life, for how I pay my bills. And I just turn it into a YouTube studio thing. I just put the lights and all that stuff. Normally, what I do is I go like this and I hide this, but the problem is that there's a big chasm over here, so I have to adjust the whole situation. It's just extra work, and I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of doing extra work. I don't have the mental space to do extra work. You know, I really don't. I really don't. It needs to be easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. If it's not easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl, I'm not interested. It needs to be easy, easy, easy. I'm too complicated. Life is way too hard to make things more than it needs to be. So I was like, you know what? F this. I'm gonna make it the way it is. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna tell them what it is. And the reason why I don't pick it out the wall, because I forget. I just come in and like, oh wait, there it is. I forget. It's you know, as a Frenchman, we have a very grosso modo way of thinking. Like, grosso modo means like in a nutshell. I looked it up. So if it's not important for the topic at hand, it goes to grosso modo. Yeah. When I did the first Dara Brooke video with me and the yellow turtleneck, that's when, you know, I was like, oh my God, Dara was just like my dad. If you need an idea of how my dad is, Dara Brooke, except smarter. Isn't that scary? To give you an idea of what we had to deal with. So, yeah, I came down here and I made this stuff and I was like, oh, this is daddy all the way. That's what I just told you what my dad was. Daddy. This is daddy all the way. All day, every day, all day. Like, now that this channel is Pack Nation, you know what me and my therapist have been talking about? Because I've been telling my therapist, I'm like, I don't know what it is. When I talk to this camera now, because I'm doing it for you guys, I can't let go. It feels like I'm talking to you. I can't just disconnect. It's a problem. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. So the therapist was saying, you need now to understand that Pack Nation, as an entity, this is what she said. Pack Nation as a whole has different subsection. So you cannot, because how I am with friends, I open up. I'm like this. I open up. I pour. And she was saying, you cannot do that because you don't know who's subscribed. You don't know who's watching. At the beginning, it was fun and games. She's like, be careful how you open. Okay, I'm done talking. I'm done talking for now. Wait. I say that because what's going to come up next? Now, what's coming up next? I don't know. Wink, wink. Bye.